So we started discussing very important set of verses last week from chapter 13, text 8 to 12. So where Krishna gives description of what he claims as this is knowledge or the process of knowledge, how knowledge can be achieved. And he claims very boldly that anything other than this is ignorance. Ajnanam yadata anyatha. So, etajnanam iti proktam. This is what I declare as knowledge or the process how you can get knowledge. And ajnanam yad ataha anyatha. And everything else other than this is ajnana. So these qualities, we started discussing few qualities because this is a long purport and I think we should discuss these qualities in detail. So we'll probably discuss this over a period of next few weeks. So let's recite these verses once at least, and then we'll get into the purport directly. I'll recite once, and maybe if Kandali Mataji is there, she can recite once, and then we'll start reading the purport. Amānitvam adambhitvam
amanitvam adambhitvam
ahiṁsā kṣāntir ārjavam
ahiṁsā
kṣāntir
ācāryopāsanaṁ śaucaṁ
ācāryopāsanaṁ
sthairyam ātma-vinigrahaḥ
sthairyam ātma-vinigrahaḥ
indriyārtheṣu vairāgyam
indriyārtheṣu vairāgyam
anahaṅkāra eva ca
anahaṅkāra
janma-mṛtyu-jarā-vyādhi
janma-mṛtyu-jarā-vyādhi
duḥkha-doṣānudarśanam
duḥkha-doṣānudarśanam
asaktir anabhiṣvaṅgaḥ
asaktir
anabhiṣvaṅgaḥ
putra-dāra-gṛhādiṣu
putra-dāra-gṛhādiṣu
nityaṁ ca sama-cittatvam
sama-cittatvam
iṣṭāniṣṭopapattiṣu
iṣṭāniṣṭopapattiṣu
mayi cānanya-yogena
mayi
cānanya-yogena
bhaktir avyabhicāriṇī
bhaktir avyabhicāriṇī
vivikta-deśa-sevitvam
vivikta-deśa-sevitvam
āratir jana-saṁsadi
ārjavam
adhyātma-jñāna-nityatvaṁ
adhyātma-jñāna-nityatvaṁ
tattva-jñānārtha-darśanam
tattva-jñānārtha-darśanam
etajñānam iti proktam
etajñānamiti proktam
ajñānam yadatonyathā.
ajñānam yadatonyathā.
Kandali Mataji, you want to recite once?
Omante. Amānitvam adambhitvam
amānitvam
ahiṁsā kṣāntir
ārjavam
ācāryopāsanaṁ śaucaṁ
ācāryopāsanaṁ
sthairyam ātma-vinigrahaḥ
ātma-vinigrahaḥ
indriyārtheṣu vairāgyam
vairāgyam
anahaṅkāra eva ca
anahaṅkāra eva ca
janma-mṛtyu janma-mṛtyu-jarā-vyādhi
janma-mṛtyu-jarā-vyādhi
duḥkha-doṣānudarśanam
duḥkha-doṣānudarśanam
asaktir
asaktir
putra-dāra-gṛhādiṣu
putra-dāra-gṛhādiṣu
nityaṁ ca sama-cittatvam
nityaṁ ca sama-cittatvam
iṣṭāniṣṭopapattiṣu
adhyātma-jñāna-nityatvaṁ
mayi cānanya-yogena
mayi
mayi
avyabhicāriṇī
bhaktir
bhaktir
avyabhicāriṇī
avyabhicāriṇī
vivikta-deśa-sevitvam
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 jana-saṁsadi
ārjavam
jana-saṁsadi
adhyātma-jñāna-nityatvaṁ
adhyātma-jñāna-nityatvaṁ
tattva-jñānārtha-darśanam
tattva-jñānārtha-darśanam
etajñānamiti प्रोक्तम्
एतज्ज्ञानमिति
अज्ञानं यदतोऽन्यथा
Thank you so much, Mataji. So let me stop sharing one screen and then make it a full screen. So, translation. So there are about 19-20 qualities that are given, and Krishna says that these are, he declared as knowledge, or this is how you can get knowledge about kshetra and kshetrajna. And there are two types of kshetra. In the earlier part, Arjuna asked him several questions. One of them was, what is jnana, or what is knowledge? And then other part, he also asked about what is the object or the purpose of knowledge. What is that we should know? So he declared in the second or third verse that to know about kshetra, the field of activities, which the primary field of activities is the body, and kshetrajna, or who is a knower of the body. So there are two knowers of the body. One is the individual soul, that is the person who is inside that body, or who is residing in the body, and the other as a Paramatma, or Krishna himself, who is residing in all the bodies simultaneously. So these, and to know about these two tattvata is jnana. And then here he claims something additional, that all these qualities, and starting with amānitvam, expecting no man, that means humility. Humility, pridelessness, non-violence, tolerance, simplicity, then approaching a bona fide spiritual master, ācāryopāsanaṁ. So Prabhupada translates the Acharya or the Guru as a bona fide spiritual master, always bona fide, not any fake Guru. He's an authorized Guru according to the Vedic scriptural injunctions, and he is coming from Guru Shishya Parampara. Then cleanliness, śaucaṁ, steadiness, self-control, renunciation of the objects of sense gratification, then absence of false ego, the perception of evil of birth, death, old age, and disease, janma-mṛtyu-jarā-vyādhi. These are the four real problems, and one who understands that these are the real problems, duḥkha-doṣānudarśanam. Detachment from entanglement with children, wife, home, and the rest. Putra-dāra-gṛhādiṣu. Even-mindedness among present and unpleasant events. Constant and unalloyed devotion to me, to Krishna. This is one of the key factors that is important, and we discussed about that. Aspiring to live in a solitary place, detachment from general mass of people, accepting the importance of self-realization, the philosophical search of the absolute truth, tattva-jñānārtha-darśanam. And then he says, all these qualities he has mentioned here, I declare to be knowledge. Etat jnanam iti proktam. This is what is called as jnana or knowledge. And besides this, whatever there may be is ignorance. Ajnanam yad atah anyatha. Everything anya or everything else remaining other than this is, he declares as ajnana. So there are lots of qualities Krishna mentioned here. So last time we discussed a little bit about humility and pridelessness. So humility is not expecting any man, and pridelessness is in spite of somebody dishonors you or anybody honors you, you should not be disturbed. But in that same purport, Prabhupada also declared that the first line of the 11th verse, mayi cānanya-yogena bhaktir avyabhicāriṇī, is the key of all other qualities. Because once mayi ananya-yogena, mayi cha ananya-yogena bhaktir. And what kind of bhaktir? Avyabhicāriṇī, undeviated, not contaminated with anything else. That is one of the important or the key qualities of this, out of all these 20. And then Prabhupada gives quotation from Srimad Bhagavatam here, from the 5th canto, 18th chapter and 12th verse, where Prahlad Maharaj, Bhakta Prahlad, he declares that Yasyasti bhakti bhagavati akinchana sarvair gunair sat tatra samasate sura harav bhaktasya kuto mahadguna manorathena sati dhavato vahi. Yasya, in whom, asti bhagavati akinchana, bhaktir bhagavati akinchana. A person who has akinchana bhakti for Bhagavan, what happens to him? Sarvair gunair tatra samasate sura. He has all good qualities which the sura or devatas have. He has all godly qualities. So actually this whole, all the living entities in this whole creation, including all 14 planetary systems in this universe, are broadly categorized into two types of people: Sura and Asura, or Daivi and Rakshasi. So he says, and there is a 16th whole chapter is dedicated in describing those qualities in Bhagavad Gita, Daivasura Sampata Vibhaga Yoga, where Krishna describes the Daivi and Asuric qualities in that chapter. So we'll discuss those when we get there. But here, what Krishna says is, one who is akinchana bhakti for Krishna or Bhagavan, he has all godly qualities. But hara abhaktasya kuto mahadguna, one who is not bhakta of Hari or abhakta of Hari, that is Krishna or Vishnu, then kuto mahadguna, what kind of good qualities he will have? Why? Because hara bhaktasya kuto mahadguna manorathena asati dhavato bahi. He is making great plans, manorath, and he's running dhavato bahi, to enjoy the external energy of Hari. The external energy is this material creation, which is called Maya. So every one of us is running after and making great plans and endeavoring very hard to enjoy this external energy, this material energy, through our senses. That's what indriya or vishaya sukha upabhogण्यासाठी आपण धावतोय. So that's why he cannot have any good qualities. Even though superficially he may pretend or he may portray to be a very good person by giving charity to temples or donation to opening hospitals or giving something to school and opening anath-ashram and vruddha-ashram and all those things. But when time comes, he shows his colors, and then he will show how he's just making this fame to benefit himself by some or the other way for his own sense gratification. So today what we are going to discuss is few more qualities starting with ahiṁsā. So let's read one paragraph at a time, and then we'll discuss and then move on to the other. So Madhu Prabhu, do you want to read this paragraph describing ahiṁsā or non-violence?
Yes. Yes. Non-violence is generally taken to mean not killing or destroying the body, but actually non-violence means not to put others into distress. People in general are trapped by ignorance in the material concept of life, and they perpetually suffer material pains. So unless one elevates people to spiritual knowledge, one is practicing violence. One should try his best to distribute real knowledge to the people so that they may become enlightened and leave this material entanglement. That is non-violence.
Thank you, Prabhu.
Thank you.
So non-violence, according to Vedic culture, is a very, very deep term, ahiṁsā. Ahiṁsā paramo dharma. But the second part is dharmo himsa tathaivacha. That ahiṁsā is very important, but ahiṁsā is generally taken as not harming physically others. That's a general term that in today's context, many times when we use ahiṁsā, that's what our understanding is, not killing others and not harming other living entities physically. But ahiṁsā is way beyond that. Actually, non-violence means not putting others in any kind of distress. It could be physical, spiritual, mental, emotional. Any kind of distress, and that non-violence can be applied to yourself also. We do not have even right to put ourselves in distress. So the so-called the fasting that is done for political purpose is considered as himsa in Vedic culture, because it is himsa. In a way, you are emotionally blackmailing the system or blackmailing others to get things done according to your own way. So all these, the fasting happens. I'm forgetting the word. What do we call this? Satyagraha and other things. Uposhan, yes, thank you.
Andolan.
Uposhan is the word I was looking for. So this uposhan actually in Vedic scriptures considered as himsa, because you are blackmailing others so that you can get your things done by harming yourself. So that is considered as violence. Because the real goal of human life is considered to be freeing yourself, being intelligent enough, using your intelligence to free yourself, because you are already in a precarious condition. You are already suffering the 4 real problems which we are going to discuss. janma-mṛtyu-jarā-vyādhi. We are getting birth which we don't aspire for. Nobody wants to get birth in this material world because it is place of miseries. Mrityu. Once we get birth, nobody, however, a person may be a bedridden in the hospital for several days, but he doesn't want to die because that is so painful. Everybody is afraid of death. Jara. Nobody wants to get old, because with old age, all the different types of difficulties come without invitation, without aspiring for. Our senses stop working, our eyesight becomes weak, our hearing becomes weak, our physical body becomes weak. We cannot understand, we cannot remember things properly. We cannot take care of ourselves. We become dependent on others. But unfortunately, we cannot avoid all these things. But still, it comes. Jara and Vyadhi, different types of diseases. So these four, according to Vedic culture, are considered the real problems. Every other problem is our own creation in this material world. Unnecessarily. Because we have complicated our simple life in such a way that we have created so many other problems in this material world. But these four are the only real problems that we have to deal with, and nobody talks about this. So if we are not using our life, or if we are not helping others to get them free from these four miseries and get them liberated from this life, then this human form, using this human form, then we are violent. We are not violent. We are not violent, non-violence. We are practicing ahiṁsā against everyone, because we are not giving them benefit of the best ability of human form of life that they have, and we are not using that for ourselves. So that type of person actually is in several places in Vedic culture is called ātma-vinigrahaḥ, one who is killing himself. One ātma-vinigrahaḥ, atma means soul and ha means killing, hata. So how can a soul, if the soul is eternal, then how can soul be killed? So it is a term in which generally we say that, why are you doing suicide by doing certain things? That means you are harming yourself. So by not using the human form of life intelligently for freeing ourselves from these miseries of life, or making the best use of this human form of life to free ourselves from this material entanglement, is suicidal path. And actually there is one verse I wanted to show from Ishopanishad. Ishopanishad is one of the very important Upanishads in the 108 Upanishads, where it says, so there are only 18 mantras in here, and with one invocation which glorifies the Supreme Lord as Purnam. Om Purnamida Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vaishishyate. That the Supreme God can only be Purna. He's always Purna. He's always complete. So we're not going to get there, but here he says that what happens to people who don't make the best use of the human form of life. So they are called asur. So, and they are put into the lokas which are kind of following the asuri pravritti or asuri loka. So what it says is, asurya namate loka andhena tamasavrita tamste prityabhigachanti yeke chatmahano jana. Atmahano. So they are called as atmahana. Who are they? One second. So they are called atmaha or atmahana. So people who, what does it say? Asurya namate loka, the people who are given birth in the places which are called asuri. And there are different lokas in this material world, and everywhere there are people who are of this type. So people of this type, they are given birth or they go to this planet, which are andhena tamasavrita. They are dark. They are blind by the darkness of ignorance. Tamste, and those pritya abhigachanti, they get birth in there, who are anyone who is atmahana or who follows the path of or the suicidal path of not liberating themselves or not taking the path of spiritual progress. It says, the killer of the soul, Atmaha, whoever he may be, must enter into the planets known as the worlds of the faithless, full of darkness and ignorance. And we can see even in this, on this planet, there are places where they don't have any type of guidance on the spiritual or Vedic culture, which is in a way, the only path that you can get out of this material entanglement. And then people from childhood learn very abominable things and then follow these all asuric qualities. So they are given birth according to that. So that's why ahimsa literally means not taking advantage or not giving advantage to others to free themselves from this material entanglement. If we are not doing that to others, then it is actually called himsa or violence against others as well as against ourselves. So I hope that makes a little bit sense. Let's discuss the next one, tolerance. Rajesh Prabhu, do you want to read the paragraph?
Tolerance means that one should be practiced to bear insult and dishonor from others. If one is engaged in the advancement of spiritual knowledge, there will be so many insults and much dishonor from others. This is expected because material nature is so constituted. Even a boy like Prahlada, who only 5 years old, was engaged in the cultivation of spiritual knowledge, was endangered when his father became antagonistic to his devotion. The father tried to kill him in so many ways, but Prahlada tolerated him. So there may be many impediments to making advancement in spiritual knowledge, but we should be tolerant and continue our progress with determination.
Thank you, Prabhu.
Simplicity means
No, I think we'll
that
discuss this first.
Okay.
So tolerance is one of the qualities that Krishna says the process of knowledge, and tolerance is very, very important. Many times the concept of God is so convoluted in this, particularly in this Western part of the world, or even everywhere in the world now, that God means my order supplier. If I worship God, that means, or if I am devotee of God, that means I will not have any suffering in this world. God will do everything for me. I don't have to do anything. That's the general conception about God in the people's mind. But that's not true. Otherwise, you see, this Bhagavad Gita was spoken to Arjuna on the battlefield of Kurukshetra. Krishna, who is God himself, driving chariot of his devotee Arjuna. And when Arjuna said, I don't want to fight, that according to general conception of the God in this today's world, Krishna could have just said, oh, just get rest in the back. I'll handle all this. You don't have to worry. Just enjoy. Is that what Krishna did? No, he said, it is your duty. You must fight. You must have to go through all the pains and sufferings by following the duty to fulfill my order. So that's what it is. So a devotee actually, when path of bhakti or path of devotional, we think many times people ask, bhakti karke kya mila tumhe? तुम भी तो दुखी हो, तुम्हें तो सब ये सब भोग रहे हो, तो क्या मिला? तो bhakti doesn't mean that all your miseries will go away. It will give you the strength. Actually, the pain will be there, but suffering will not be there. There is a very beautiful saying in English, and I may not say it correctly, but it is say that pain is not optional, but suffering is optional. And correct me if I am saying it correctly. It's very beautiful. I'm not. Thank you, Kushal. It says that pain is inevitable, but suffering is optional.
Correct.
So the two persons may be going through the same pain, but one is suffering and one is not suffering because he has the strength to tolerate the pain. And Prabhupada gives a very good example of Prahlad Maharaj here, that imagine a 5-year-old boy who is looking at his parents for his protection. A father who is supposed to protect him, and his father himself turns against him because he is a devotee of Lord. And he tries to kill him in so many different abominable ways. But he is still very tolerant. And even when Lord Nrsimhadev appeared and killed his father Hiranyakashipu, and he asked Prahlad Maharaj to ask for a boon, he said, I don't want anything for me. But this, my father, he was very much against you. And he has done so many bad things to me, tried to kill me. So if you can, please forgive him. That's only one thing I ask for. Imagine a 5-year-old boy asking for forgiveness for a father who was trying to kill him. That's what tolerance means. And this is true we see even in today's day and age, people who are trying to follow real dharma, they are in general very tolerant. They will tolerate all the kinds of abuses, all the kinds of mistreatments they go through. They will always try to follow dharma and everything. Even Pandavas were such a great devotees. But if you see their life, they went through so many things that they don't deserve to. They were insulted. Their wife was insulted. They were adharmic ways sent to forest. And so many things that they have to go through. But they still were very tolerant. And even in spite of, after all these things happened, in the beginning of the war of Kurukshetra, Arjuna says, even if these people come and kill me, I don't want to fight because they are my people. Even if they don't know what they are doing, but I don't want to kill them. This is what tolerance is. And that's why this is one of the great qualities devotees always have. And this is one of the qualities Krishna mentions as the path of gaining knowledge. So we'll probably discuss one more and then we'll stop. Sunil Prabhu, do you want to read this paragraph about simplicity?
Go. Simplicity means that without diplomacy, one should be so straightforward that he can disclose the real truth even to an enemy. As for acceptance of the spiritual master, that is essential, because without the instruction of a bona fide spiritual master, one cannot progress in the spiritual science. One should approach the spiritual master with all humility and offer him all services so that he will be pleased to bestow his blessings upon the disciple. Because a bona fide spiritual master is a representative of Krishna. If he bestows any blessings upon his disciple, that will make the disciple immediately advanced without the disciples following the regulative principles. Or the regulative principles will be easier for one who has served the spiritual master without reservation.
Thank you.
Cleanliness.
No, I think we'll stop there. Thank you.
Okay.
So simplicity is straightforwardness. Simplicity is being very simple person. And devotees in general of Krishna says that it is one of the important qualities. And simplicity means when we approach a spiritual master, particularly the example that Krishna gives here, approaching a spiritual master with simplicity, opening him completely and taking guidance wholeheartedly. And if you see, when Arjuna was in the very first chapter, Arjuna is putting forward so many arguments why he doesn't want to fight. But in the end, in the beginning of second chapter, and Krishna doesn't say anything, he's just listening, and as a good friend, he's just listening to him. He's not giving him any spiritual advice at that point. But then in the 7th shloka of second chapter, Arjuna completely surrenders to Krishna. And he says, Karpanya-doṣānudarśanam pruchhami-tvam dharma-saṁmūಢ-cheta yat shreyasan nishchitam bruhi tanme shishyasteham shadimam tvam prapannam. Karpanya-doṣānudarśanam, that I am completely bewildered. I don't know what to do now because of this miserly weakness, Karpanya-doṣa. Pruchhami-tvam, I am asking you now, dharma-saṁmūಢ-cheta, what is real dharma? What is the duty that I should do now? Please tell me nishchitam. Nishchitam karpanya-doṣopahatasvabhava pruchhami-tvam dharma-saṁmūಢ-cheta shishyasteham shadimam tvam prapannam. That I am asking you for you to tell me what is nishchit, what is true, what is real dharma for me. Shishyasteham, I now am completely surrendered to you as your disciple. So at that point, he accepts Krishna as his guru. Shishyaste aham shadhimam, please instruct me. Tvam prapanyam, I surrender to you completely. So when he accepts him guru, then Krishna starts giving him knowledge, not before that. So the spiritual understanding is given by Krishna also to Arjuna when he accepts him, or he surrenders to him completely as a disciple. And the very first thing Krishna does after Arjuna accepts him is chastises him. Ashochan anvashocastam pradnyavadansya bhasate gatasun agatasun cha nanushocanti pandita. That you are talking like a pandit. You are talking like you are putting forward all these arguments for not to fight like a pandit, like a very learned person. But in an indirect way, he's telling Arjuna that you are fool number one, because you are lamenting for something that is not worthy for lamentation. Ashochan anvashocastam pradnyavadamsya bhasate. You are talking like a pradnyavan. Why? Because gatasun agatasun cha nanushocanti pandita. A truly learned person who knows about the spiritual science is never laments about something that is temporary. Those are these bodies. This body is temporary, because for a living entity, soul that is eternal, nobody laments for that. Only that lamentable for that it is stuck in this material world. But that he's eternal, so there is nothing to lament about this. त्याच्याबद्दल शोक करण्याचं काही कारण नाही. So Krishna immediately chastises him straightforward. That's where simplicity is. Arjuna becomes simple person and surrenders to Krishna. There is one more very beautiful story in Chandogya Upanishad actually. In the Chandogya Upanishad, there is if you have learned about Satyakam Jabal Muni. So Satyakam Jabal, in a very young age, before becoming a great sage, he went to Gautama Rishi for studying scriptures, for to accept him as a spiritual master or guru. So as a regular practice, that time sages would accept only a Brahminical quality, Brahminical person as their disciple. So Gautama Rishi asked him, my dear child, he was a very young boy, Satyakam. So he asked him, oh, what is your gotra? Who is your mother? Who is your father? I need to ask you before accepting you as my disciple, my shishya. So he said, my mother lives in a town, but I don't know about my father. And I don't know about my gotra. So he said, so Gautama Muni said, then why don't you go and ask your mother? Because I need to know your gotra before I accept you as my disciple. So this young boy, he went to his mother and asked his mother, who is my father and what is our gotra? What is my gotra? I have to tell this to my guru, Gautama Rishi. So he asked me. So his mother, she said that I worked as a maid servant and to raise you, to live as a life, I associated with many men. And I'll be honest, but I don't really know. I cannot tell who your real father is. So just be honest and tell this truth to Gautama Rishi that your mother has worked as a maid servant in her young life and she associated with many men, and unfortunately even she doesn't know who is your father. So this boy went again to Gautama Rishi and in front of everyone he said, oh, my mother said this is what happened, that she associated with many men for living her life, and then unfortunately she doesn't know who my father is, and because of that I also don't know, or she doesn't also know what my gotra is. So Gautama Rishi said that your mother spoke the truth and you came here and spoke the very truth to me, and only a person with pure Brahminical qualities can speak such a truth. So you are a real Brahman and I accept you as my disciple. So that is simplicity. And eventually he became his mother's name was Jabal, and his name he was given a name Satyakam, and that's why Satyakam Jabal. And then there are some great scriptures he wrote eventually. So Satyakam Jabal Muni. So that is simplicity. And that is considered as one of the great qualities that Krishna mentions here, which is also as jnana. So it is 10:25. We have 5 minutes. So I think we'll stop here. We discuss 3 qualities: non-violence, tolerance, and simplicity. So we'll take some reflections and then maybe we can do a round of japa. So any thoughts or any reflections, Prabhuji, or any questions or any corrections? Thank you very much. Hare Krishna.
That particular paragraph on simplicity essentially is so touching. Actually, I don't know, people have been saying, Brahman janmane hoto, kiva Brahman ashane hoto. There was only one person who told me, only one person who can tell a truth in the face of death. Only he qualifies to be Brahman. Bakichana tu bagutsu. So if you want any inspiration, use this statement. And exactly what Krishna also in many ways says. You better be honest. Then I really like that part. लहानपणी बोललेला. So
Mhm.
You don't go about all this Brahman business. तुम डेथ के सामने सच बोल सकते हो, तो go ahead, consider yourself one.
Actually, there are quality of Brahman. We take that word very easily, very lightly. But in Bhagavad Gita also, Krishna gives the qualities of Brahmana. There are 9 qualities he gives in the 42nd verse, probably. So I'll discuss those. And then in Padma Purana also there is very definition of what is Brahmana is given. So here Krishna says in the 42nd verse that these are 9 qualities. Shamo, Dama, Tapa, Śaucaṁ, kṣāntir, ārjavam evacha. So this ārjavam we just discussed, simplicity, is a Brahmanical quality. So Shamo, Dama, Tapa, Śaucaṁ, kṣāntir, ārjavam evacha, jnanam, vijnanam, astikyam, brahma karma svabhavajam. So these 9 qualities is what a Brahmana has. So we should know Brahmana from these qualities, not by janma. So what is his? Peacefulness, self-control, austerity, purity, tolerance, honesty, knowledge, wisdom, and religiousness. These are the natural qualities by which Brahmana works. This is Brahma Karma Swabhavajam. Swabhavajam. These are natural qualities. A person, anybody has his qualities naturally. It doesn't matter where he is born, he is considered as Brahman. The other thing that Krishna says in the Bhagavad Gita, 4th chapter, that he created these 4 varnas, Brahman, Kshatriya, Vaishya, and Shudra. So they are ever existing, even in a contaminated way, even today's world, even if we don't accept. And so, but these are Chaturvarnyam maya srishtam guna karma vibhagashaha. That Chaturvarnyam, these 4 varnas I created. Maya srishtam. Brahman, Kshatriya, Vaishya, Shudra. These 4 varnas are created by Krishna. So they are always going to exist. But they are not by janma. He doesn't say by janma. They are by guna karma vibhagashaha. These are the 4 vibhagas of the society I have created by guna, qualities, and karma. So that a Brahman, Kshatriya, Vaishya, or Shudra are to be identified by their guna and karma, by the qualities what they have and by the activities they perform. Just like a person may be graduate, medical graduate. So by medical degree, he can be claimed to be a doctor. But just by getting degree, he doesn't become a doctor. He has ability to become a doctor, or he has the ability to practice as a doctor. But unless until he's practicing medicine, he should not be called as a doctor. A person may have some qualities of these Brahmana or Kshatriya or Vaishya or others. But unless he's practicing, unless his karma is showing those qualities, he will not be accepted in that way. So both guna and karma are important. Just like I think sometimes I don't know if here or somewhere else, I mentioned about this Dr. Nilesh Sabale, may be famous, right? Or Dr. Sriram Lagu. They are doctors. They studied medicine, but they don't practice medicine. So if my son is, or if I become sick, will I go to Dr. Nilesh Sabale for medication, for treatment? No, no way.
He cannot
Because
be
he's just a comedian right now. He's not practicing doctor. So I will not go for medical treatment to him, even though he may be a doctor. Or somebody, if he's a son of a doctor, will I go to take his advice just because he's a son of a doctor?
No.
No, because he's not doctor himself. He may be born in a family of doctor, but that doesn't make him a doctor. So in the same way, Vedic culture doesn't accept just by taking birth in a Brahminical family as Brahman, taking birth in a Kshatriya family as Kshatriya or other way. They have to learn, they have to be trained in proper way. Yes, they have better opportunity to become like that. A person born in a Brahminical family will have a great option or great possibility to become a good Brahman. Just like
Yes.
a person born into a doctor will have a great option or opportunity or chances that he becomes a doctor. Because he raises in that environment. For him, it is easier to become a doctor. He knows things. But that doesn't automatically make him a doctor. So this is about Brahman. Sorry, we digress a little bit more. But based on Brahmanical qualities, this is important. And Padma Puran, it says actually the definition that janmana jayato shudra samskarat bhaved dvija veda pathat bhaved vipra brahma janati iti brahmana. So by birth, everybody is born as Kshudra because he has no qualities at the time of birth. But after Janma, when that person goes to samskara, so in Vedic culture, there are samskaras even before birth, they start actually, beginning with Garbhadan samskar. So there are 16 samskaras a living entity goes through in Vedic culture. From before even taking birth, from Garbhadan samskar to even after leaving this body by Antya samskar. So there are 16 these different samskaras that, so samskarat bhaved dvija. By samskara, at the time of Upanayana samskara, he becomes dvija or second birth. Second born, dvija, one who is born second time. First by mother and father, biological birth, and second by getting the mantra from Guru and accepting the Vedic culture. And then Veda Pathat. After that, when he is given Upanayan Samskar, when he starts studying the Vedas and becomes learned in that, then he is called as Vipra. Vipra means a learned person in Vedic culture. And after that, when he realizes what Brahman is, then he is Brahman. That is the definition of Brahman that Padma Purana gives. So Brahman is a very highly designated position in Vedic culture. Not anybody is called as a Brahman. So just because this topic came up, I just wanted to touch those points here. So thank you. Thank you for bringing that topic, Harish. So thank you, Prabhuji. Any other thoughts or any other comments? So if not, thank you very much for joining. And I think we'll stop our discussion here. Let me stop recording.